What's going on? Ryan from the MTG Homebrew Network today to bring you a cat deck that I have been working on for a very long time and I'm very, very happy with. So, this is Kemba, Ka Enduring Hammer Time. It's the frickin' Hammer Cat. Kemba, Ka Enduring reads 1 and a white for a 2/2. Whenever Kemba, Ka Enduring, or another cat enters the battlefield under your control, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to that creature. Equipped creatures get +1/+1, and 3 white create a 2/2 cat token. I'm going to skip ahead to the artifacts and pull up the card that most people know about, Colossus Hammer. For 1 mana, equipped creature gets +10/+10 and loses flying, and it has equip 8. So A plus B combo with one of them in our command zone makes a 13/13 because it's 2 plus 10 plus another 1 from being an equipped creature. That is good. That is good enough a lot of the time. This combo, hard to beat. Just a turn 1 into turn 2, sometimes faster than that, with Lotus Petal. Card good. Game fun. Anyway, there's like 48 other cards that I need to talk about, so I guess let's get into the creatures. We have another cat, Adorned Pouncer. This is a 1/1 with a double strike. It's a cat, and it has Eternalize 3 white. Very, very importantly, it's a cat, because if we can get another equipment on the battlefield while Kemba's on the battlefield, we can equip it onto Adorned Pouncer, and then we have a more than 1/1 with double strike. It's quite good. Sometimes it's like a strength testing hammer or a wrecking ball arm or something, but just cat with double strike has proved it to be pretty good. Cloud, Midgar Mercenary, is kind of interesting. It is a 2/1 for white, legendary creature human soldier mercenary. When it enters, search your library for an equipment card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. So it's like a Stoneforge Mystic number 2, but it also has, as long as Cloud is equipped, if an ability of Cloud or an equipment attached to it triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. There's a funky little interaction that we can do, which I've done a bunch of times because it sets itself up. We have Cloud Midgar Mercenary in the graveyard and Pre-War Formal Wear. When you cast Pre-War Formal Wear, when it enters, return target creature with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield and attach Pre-War Formal Wear to it. So that whole ability resolves and it leaves you with an equipped Cloud. Equipped creature also gets +2/+2 in Vigilance, and it has equipped 3. So you play the Pre-War Formal Wear, get back Cloud, and then when Cloud enters the battlefield, you have a trigger. But Cloud reads, as long as Cloud is equipped, which it is, if an ability of Cloud or an equipment attached to it triggers an additional time, you get to tutor 2 equipments with Cloud. So it's just 3 mana, get back a 4/3, draw 2 cards. Tutor 2 equipment from your deck into hand. That's really sick. We also have Esper Sentinel, a very good draw engine piece. Keep cards flowing into our hands from our opponent casting things like their removal spells or cantrips or whatever they're doing. Just make it not free for them to do so. Give Riv Runes along with Skrelv, along with Mother of Runes, are just good creatures for protection. You just get to put them into play and then have them sit around and eat removal spells or block removal spells or make their creatures not able to block. These creatures are very flexible and just give you stuff to do around your combo. Lion Sash, very funny enough, is a cat equipment, so it interacts with a ton of cards in our deck, but it reads like a Scavenging Ooze. For 1 white, exile target card from a graveyard. If a permanent card was exiled this way, put a +1/+1 counter on Lion Sash, and then the equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each counter on the Lion Sash, and it has Reconfigure too. So it can just be a creature, and it can just pick up another equipment. You can just attach Lion Sash to a creature cat that enters or reconfigure it onto. It just gives you good equity against graveyard strategies and lets you have a cat equipment. A tutorable cat. Pretty cool. Ocelot Pride is one of the best cards ever printed. It's one of the best 1/1s that's ever existed. For 1 mana, it's a 1/1 first strike lifelink, ascend. and then the cat ability, which you can read on your own time. It's just very good. I recommend playing it, but it has Kemba words on it where it's a cat and can pick up an equipment, and then it's even better. A 2/2 first strike lifelink is quite good compared to just a 1/1, or even perhaps maybe an 11/11. Kind of nice. Sacred Cat is another cat, but it has Embalm instead of Eternalize, so for 1 mana it just comes back as a black token. It has lifelink. It dies and comes back. Good enough. Skrelv is Mother of Runes, but is an artifact, so helps with stuff like our Pure Steel Paladin, which I skipped. Whoops. Whenever an equipment enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. Equipment you control have equip 0 as long as you control 3 or more artifacts. That's very good. It helps with the whole attaching Colossus Hammer to any creature you want kind of thing, especially after Colossus Hammer has been on the battlefield. You don't need to have the creature first or the artifact first. You can just have one after the other. Usually it's better one after the other because you can draw a card when it enters. It's kind of neat. And then Stoneforge Mystic is just another tutor. It's similar to Cloud. We aren't really going to be putting equipments onto the battlefield at instant speed, but we can when it's good with things like Sigarda's Aid, because you can cast Aura and Equipment as though they had Flash with this card. That'll come up a couple times with different kinds of cards, but whenever an equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you can attach it to target creature you control. So it just gives you free Colossus Hammer attachment, or even enables your On Thin Ice to be cast at instant speed. Kind of neat. When it enters the battlefield, exile target creature and opponent controls until On Thin Ice leaves the battlefield, and you enchant a snow land you control, which we are playing 11 snow basics, so you will likely have one. Moving on to the sorceries, there's only 3 of them, only the 3 I figured that were worth playing. Open the Armory is 1 and a white. Search your library for an Aura and Equipment card, then shuffle your library. We have our On Thin Ice Aura to tutor, or a whole bunch of different equipment to get, whichever is good at the time. We also have Steel Shaper's Gift, which doesn't search for the Aura, but is 1 mana less, and can tutor the same equipment suite. And we have Recommission, which more or less reads, return target any of our permanents from the graveyard to the battlefield. If it's a creature, it enters with an additional +1/+1 counter. Pretty neat. Make our creature a little bigger, or get back an equipment that our opponent destroyed. Kinda nice. Apostle's Blessing is a 1 and a Phyrexian white, so potentially 2 life. Target artifact or creature you control gains protection from artifacts or the color of your choice until end of turn. This, along with Brave the Elements, Blacksmith's Skill, Flawless Maneuver, are just a way to protect your creatures and your combo. Some of them for little to no mana, some for literal to actual no mana, if you control Kemba. They all do kind of different things, but they're just there as our white counter spells in order to make sure our opponent doesn't just blow us out by destroying our creatures or our equipment. And they also help us get in for damage when we need to be attacking their face, which is usually. Enlightened Tutor is a lot like our Open the Armory, Steel Shaper's Gift kind of cards. Search for an artifact or enchantment. Notably, a good enchantment that we will often want to tutor off this is Urza's Saga. It's Urza Saga, and I will just let you kind of read it. It's right there, but it's good enough. It does all of the things that Urza's Saga has always done, and it is quite good at doing them, and it helps us get our Colossus Hammer or make creatures. Pretty good. We also have some more removal in Swords to Plowshares and March of Otherworldly Light. Those cards are good at getting rid of the targets that they can target. March is really good at getting rid of kind of any permanent that's giving us grief, except for Planeswalkers, but we can usually just kind of punch them with our big creatures that have equipment on them. Moving on, we have our equipment and our other artifacts. So Colossus Hammer, I've mentioned before, kind of the name of the deck. It's quite good. Lotus Petal accelerates us, I mentioned that earlier. Pip-Boy is fine, it's just kind of been okay. It's a good get-back mechanic. I wouldn't put too much stock into Pip-Boy, but I certainly do like having it. You can, when equipped creature attacks, not deals combat damage, so all it has to do is just get into the red zone, draw a card, then discard a card, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature, or untap 2 target lands. It just kind of pays for itself, it replaces itself, or it makes the creature bigger. Can't complain. Any of those effects are good. Not game-breaking per se like Colossus Hammer is, but certainly just has equity in being in the deck. Portable Hole is an artifact that enters the battlefield and exiles a non-land permanent and opponent controls with mana value 2 or less until it leaves the battlefield. Can't complain. It's a good little removal spell, a lot like a white Fatal Push is how I read this card, but it's tutorable off of our Enlightened Tutor, so there's some synergy there. Pre-war Formal Wear, I explained, is very good with Cloud, but it's also just very good with getting back any of our creatures that our opponent has killed. It just has some extra equity with Cloud specifically. And what's fun is you can play Cloud and then tutor the Pre-War Formal Wear, expecting them to kill Cloud, and then do the thing and draw 2 cards, and it's nice. Shadow Spear has pulled its weight in every single deck that it's been in for 1 colorless mana and equipped 2. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has trample and lifelink. Oh my goodness, is it good to give to a creature that already has Colossus Hammer on it for such little mana. And for 1 mana, permanents your opponents control lose hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. This is good when they are trying to protect their creatures or have an indestructible blocker. It just makes their day worse. Very nice. Springleaf Drum is good with this deck. It's 1 mana for tap an untapped creature you control, add 1 mana of any color. I usually play Springleaf Drum in my Urza's Saga decks. It's just good enough to get off of and replace itself with mana. Sometimes you want to get Lotus Petal, a lot of the time you'll want Springleaf Drum because it sticks around, and you will more than likely have some creature that doesn't have an equipment on it that can be tapped for mana. Pretty good. When I was first building the deck, I found Strength Testing Hammer in the Tiny Leaders Reborn Discord. Someone was playing it, and I have been in love with it since. It's such a funky card. When equipped creature attacks, roll a 6-sided die. Yippee! This... that creature gets +X/+O until end of turn, where X is the result. Then, if that creature has the greatest power or is tied for greatest power among creatures on the battlefield, draw a card. Equipped 3. The equipped 3 part doesn't really matter, but just it feels awesome when this card gives your creature +6/+0 and draws you a card. A lot of the time it will give you +3/+0. That's just the average. But more than often, if you're equipping to a creature that is already big, or it's early in the game and your opponent hasn't established a big guy yet, draw a card. Very good. And then finally, a very recent inclusion with the Cloud card, Wrecking Ball Arm. For 2 mana, equipped creature has base power and toughness 7/7 and can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Equip legendary creature for 3 or equip 7. We don't really care about the equip costs, but it is notable that we can equip our legendary creatures like Skrelv and Cloud for 3 mana, which is not bad. Or we can just do the Pure Steel Paladin or Kemba thing and equip for free and make a 7/7 that has some unblockable stuff. And then if you also give it like Trample and such, good time, good card. Especially against the go-wide decks like Arabella and Elves and stuff like that. You just get to walk through and not have to worry about you not dealing damage. We have some enchantments in Forge Anew, 2 and a white. When Forge Anew enters the battlefield, return target equipment card from your graveyard to the battlefield, so a lot like our Recommission. But also, as long as it's your turn, you may activate equip abilities anytime you could cast an instant. This reads a lot like the old card that's a cat from Kamigawa or Darksteel. I forget which, but it just has that line of text. And also, you can pay 0 rather than the equip cost for the first equip ability you activate during each of your turns. So on your turn, if you have a creature in play and your Colossus Hammer has been killed, return it to the battlefield. It costs 0 to equip for free at instant speed. You can attack with any number of creatures and just put Hammer on the one that they block. Forge anew, bangs. This card's awesome. On the Nice we talked about before, it's tutorable with our Open the Armory and our Enlightened Tutor, and it is a pretty good unconditional removal spell. We will usually be able to cast it onto any of our snow-covered plains. It is sorcery speed, usually. With Sigarda's Aid, it does all of the things at instant speed, and Sigarda's Aid also gives us flash equipments. Pretty cool, and equips them for free. Double cool. Moving on to our lands, we have a very select few lands that are not snow-covered basics. We are running Ancient Den because it helps us with our Pure Steel. It is worth playing, and it's just an artifact land. It's tutorable also off of Enlightened Tutor if we need to get a land that isn't Urza's Saga, but Ancient Den is good enough if we need the white mana. Aganja, Seat of the Empire, is it taps for 1 white, and it has the channel ability to deal 4 damage to an attacking or blocking creature for 2 and a white. It costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. We are running 3, so it's possible that it will cost less than 3 to activate, but it's also a non-spell removal land. Inkmoth Nexus is a classic of the Hammer genre. It taps for a colorless mana, which is fine. We're only playing 1 color, and for 1 mana it becomes a 1/1 artifact creature with flying and infect until end of turn. It's still a land. So you manage to get somehow activating a equip cost to instant speed with your Forge Anew or your Sigarda's Aid. You activate the Inkmoth, you attack in, and then you equip and kill them because they can't block because it has flying, usually. It's just a good land. I like Inkmoth Nexus. It's been fine. And skipping ahead to Urza's Saga, we already explained that. Pretty good. Wasteland, this is the kind of deck where you want to be like hurting their resources a little bit. You want to be like slowing them down in order to get some advantage on your turn. It's worth doing the Wasteland thing, but it is just kind of a angle shoot if you can slow their game plan down or hurt their mana and then get around doing your stuff. Snow-Covered Plains is Snow-Covered Plains. We are playing it because we have On the Nice. Yeah. And then sideboard is just kind of a bunch of stuff. Some more cats. Leonin Arbiter is nice to play with stuff that's like trying to do a lot of fetch lands, that kind of thing. Leonin Relic Warder is good at exiling a artifact or enchantment, but it's also a cat. Aethersworn Canonist is good at stopping the storm turns, especially with Deafening Silence. Both of these are tutorable off of our Enlightened Tutor. Pretty good. Blessed Alliance is an interesting one. It makes them sacrifice an attacking creature, so it edicts their attacks. It can untap 2 target creatures, which is kind of nice, but it also, target player gains 4 life. Can't complain. If we're playing against like a burn deck, you can escalate it to be whatever you need it to be at the time. Usually it's an edict when an opponent is attacking. Mirren Crusader, if you're playing against a black-green deck, this card is just kind of good. Has double strike, so that's kind of nice. Path to Exile is another removal spell. You could definitely not play it, but it is like Swords to Plowshares number 2. Sometimes they don't have a lot of basics. You can definitely basic check them, and if you're playing Leonin Arbiter, you can make them not tutor. That's nice. Pithy Needle is good off of Urza's Saga. It lets you have some equity against a lot of the artifact decks, or if a Planeswalker deck, you're running into Amanatu or Saheeli or something like that, the Pithing Needle is just nice to have, and you can tutor it off of Urza's Saga. Ratchet Bomb is just kind of a catch-all, destroy-all. I think there is a better card to be playing, but I like Ratchet Bomb because it makes me feel nostalgic for the times where it was good. And Tormod's Crypt is fine. It's a 0 mana artifact, and you could be playing any of the other Exilers, maybe like a Soul Guide Lantern or something of the like, but I like that this one costs 0 and helps us have our Pure Steel for not a lot of investment. You could definitely play something that replaces itself. You could play your Relic of Progenitus or whatever. I just have Tormod's Crypt in here. You don't need to do that. And that's Hammercat. I took this to a top 16 finish where I promptly got run over by a go wide deck, and they were just able to block my stuff indefinitely. It was very fun to play through the league. Thank you to my opponents for playing against me with it, and it was really, really cool. I liked jamming some cats with a big ol' hammer. And I have this deck in paper too. This is one of the decks that I like to play a lot. It's a little different in paper. I don't have all of these cards, so it's just a different build, but this is more or less what I brought to the monthly, and it was cool. It was fun. Yeah, Hammercat. Have a good one. Thanks for watching the video. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please consider checking out the tokens I make over on Etsy. There's over 100 tokens available, but if you don't see something you're looking for, don't hesitate to reach out in our Discord, as I do custom orders.